Okay, so I'm Mike Troutt with TroutPhoto.com, Troutt photo.com, Troutt Photography. And today I'm going to go through my workflow to create this image, or this image. Which one is this one? And the best thing to do is to, well, I could create a virtual copy, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this one right here because it hasn't really been affected. So we're in Lightroom. I'm in Lightroom 6. Everything I do in here should be available in Lightroom 5 or 4. Anyway, I'm going to hit the reset button and start from the beginning. There's the image as it came out of the camera. Info, we got 1/250th of a second. I was using a flash. I shot at f14, ISO 100. What I did was put a giant umbrella above me. It was a 7-foot parabolic umbrella on a Alien B, and I was on a ladder above Caitlin here. And what I did is I allowed, or with using that umbrella, the light came down, went around me, and hit her. And that's what I like about using that big of a light source, is it diffused my shadow so much that it really wasn't even there. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we have to decide, do we, personally I like the square crop on images like this, but do I want to do the crop now or later? I'm going to do it later. So first off, let's fix the exposure on this image. I could go down here to the exposure tab and just bring it up. What I've been doing a lot more lately is going into the histogram box and just kind of working from there. You just click on it and drag the way you want. And does it make a huge difference if I do it one way or the other? No, not really. But it's just something I've been doing. So here now we have a more properly exposed image. It might be a little bright, but that's not a big deal at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my adjustment brush, and I'm going to go to one of my presets. Now, some of these presets I've created, some of them I had bought. So I believe it was SLR Lounge's group for most of them that I had bought. So hair, the hair. And we're not going to go with this one exactly, but this kind of gives you a beginning of, or a starting point. Contrast 10, highlights 20, shadows -10, clarity 15, saturation 10, sharpness 25. Best thing to do is, if you want to create these brushes later on, look at what I've got here, pause the video, create them in yours, and save them. So I want to feather. I'll keep my feather out pretty good on this, and then I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to color on the hair. And notice it's not making a lot of difference. I'm not even trying to be super accurate, just because you don't really have to go in there and spend all your time getting every strand of hair, because hair's crazy anyway, so you might as well just get what's going to be affected most. So now, this being more of a fine art piece, you get to have some liberties with stuff. So what I want to do is I'm going to click on this little color button, and notice I haven't left the adjustment brush yet. I'm going to click on that, click down with the dropper, and then drag it out. And I'm going to go to her eye. And that matches her hair color closely with her eye. Now I'm going to bring down the saturation just a little, because it was a little too cartoonish. And there you go. Now she has very bright looking hair. Let's color this in just a little bit. Now the one thing you can't do is once you, at this point, let's say I tried to convert to black and white, it would leave her hair colored. So you can't do that. Alright. So I've got the hair where I want it. So now I go to my clothing one. And here's the settings for clothing. And I'm going to bring my feathering down just a little bit. Now, I know that I'm not going to have all of this in the image, so I'm not really worrying about getting her entire dress. Hit new. I'm going to go down to my eye brightener. Go to 1:1 here to really zoom in. Very subtle changes. I don't want the gold eyes. My iris enhancer. And this is really just bringing out that color. Sorry for the delay in changes. Computer doesn't like recording at the same time as I'm doing stuff. Go to my lip enhancement. I'll go right here. Color in that lip. New teeth whitening. My catch light enhancer. Now this doesn't do a lot, but I just kind of hit it over. With the catch light, it just brightens it up a little bit. Now what you want to keep doing is zooming out and zoom and in to where you see if things are going too much. Sometimes when you modify your catch lights, they become just these white specks so bright that they actually damage the image. You don't want that. So at this point, I go into my custom burn brush, and this is what I use to fix eyelashes, makeup kind of thing, and it's really, I also use it for shadows. It's really just to create a depth in the image. Make sure your feathering is all the way up so you don't have any harsh lines, and just kind of go over the makeup, over the eyelashes, anywhere that it was or you think it should have been. And I pretty much do this on every image. Do the eyebrows, and now I'm not worrying about if it goes into the mask. The mask is black anyway. You can't notice it. There's a shadow here, so I want to be careful of darkening that, but I'm going to go ahead and darken this makeup there. There we go. And if we zoom out, okay, it's getting closer. I'll bring us to 1 to 3, and I'm just going to kind of follow these shadows around her. I'm not being too worrisome on what it's hitting. I just want to create depth in the image. So we pull out, and let's get out of the adjustment brush. So far, this is what we have now. Well, that's what it says we had before, because I used an image, the wrong image. Anyway, all right. So at this point, I'll take it into Photoshop. You just right-click, edit in, Photoshop, and I'm using CC, so everything is completely up to date. Takes a minute to open. These are shot with the Nikon D800. They're excruciatingly large files to begin with. Alright, so a couple things here. First off, I want to fix her lip just a tad. It's a little off-centered. It just happens to be that way in this image. So go to Liquify under Filters. And yeah, I could create another layer and all that, but I ain't gonna worry about it. I zoom in. And drag where I need it. Just a weird angle that I shot from above and kind of threw it off. And that's better. Yeah, it's way better. Alright. So now we want to take these flowers and just kind of fill in some of these black areas. Yeah, don't have to fill in a lot of it. Again, it's going to be a square image about right here. But let's go ahead and get a few. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my clone stamp tool first. Make it a little bigger. I'm going to zoom in a little. These don't have to be exact. Okay, that is too soft to brush for what I want to do. It creates these ghosting things. Alright, I don't like that. Let's try this one. This one's got a nice... Alright. Let's get this here. It doesn't have to be exact, like I said. Clone that one again. We're going to get rid of that little piece of hair because I don't want to be cloning hair over and over and over again. So we'll get that. Fill that in here. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to create a big green area so that I have something to work with here in a minute. duplicates that color there. Alright, and that gives me a bigger, greener area, palette area to work with in some of these more delicate areas. Let's turn the opacity down. Let's see what we can get here. I like that. Okay, and I see those two little yellow areas. We're going to try to clean those up here in a minute. I'm not happy with those. Keep sampling from areas. You do want it to be kind of random. I didn't like that. Okay. Click there and fill in that. And remember that the main focus is going to be on her, so if all the flowers aren't perfect, it's not a huge deal. Give her that second one. Okay, I like that. That filled that in nice. And let's fill. I didn't turn my opacity back up, did I? Okay. Okay, so alright. So that's pretty good. It's not perfect. It's pretty good. It's close enough for what I want. Now I'm going to go in here to my patch tool, healing brush tool. I'm going to zoom in a little more. I'm going to clean up the face. Alright. Spot healing brush. That's why everything's acting weird. Alright. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to give you all my mistakes as I go. I do it. Alright. And what I'm doing here, I'm just literally going around clicking on what I want to fix. Like this little string here. And I don't like the way that it fixes that, so I go back to my clone stamp, and that allows me to get a little more precise. I sample right next to it, and I just paint it out. Back. Spot healing. Let it fix that skin tone. And like I was saying, kind of a fine art looking image, so I'm more I'm more apt to go in there and clean up details in the skin that I wouldn't worry about if it was just an image of the model just for a portfolio something. Usually what I want to do is keep the skin looking nice and natural in an image like that. But for this, okay, that looks a lot better. For this, I do want to clean it up and make it look better than human. Her hair has this little dot there. That was from the pin holding the mask in place. And is there any things on the mask? Nope. Get that. Yeah, you never gotta notice it. And one thing that drives me crazy is lint, and I did not take the lint brush to this dress before we started shooting. Alright, so we got an image that looks completely different than what we had before. But we're not done. Hit save. And you can see down here at the bottom, it's saving. And when you do your images this way, it jumps it right back into Lightroom. Creates a new edit. At this point, I say, alright, let's crop this and get the image we want. So, with my crop tool, hit original here, and I hit 1:1. That creates me a box. Now I decide, where do I want the top of this image to be? And then I shrink it. And I like it about there. That's pretty close to the other one. It's close enough. Alright. So at this point, I usually do a few things. First off, I click in here and get it on the eye. That way I can see if I'm damaging the photo any. I'm going to sharpen it just a hair. Sharpening won't fix an out of focus image, won't fix camera shake, but what it will do is increase the sharpness of an already in focus image. So what I want to do is bring up the saturation a little bit. And you're going to be like, whoa, 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 what's going on? Well, there's a couple things you can do. I just want that background to be oversaturated. So you can go into your luminance brush, grab that, hit that little circle there, click in an area you like, and lift up, and pull out some of the color. That's one option. You can also go, okay, I enhance the saturation by 51%. Let's make it 50. So I'll go to my local adjustment brush, go saturation, and bring it to -50, and just color it in the areas I want. Now the problem is, it does not exactly number, but problem is that creates a lifelessness a lot of times, so I don't like to do that. Let's just delete that. Okay. And what I did there to bring up the adjustment brush, I hit H. It brings up the dot where you first clicked. Then you can click on it and delete, or you can re-edit it. What I like to do is go to that luminance one. Nice thing about the luminance is it also it affects just the color you pick, which skin color is going to be almost always orange, usually a little bit of red in it. And you don't want to go too much because it's going to create that skin being too white. But it also covers up any kind of skin flaws a lot of times. I like it. Alright, go here. I used a Tamron 2875 on that. Put just a little bit of crop in there. And a little trick I like to do is go to camera calibration, go to where it's blue, just bump the saturation a little bit. And a lot of times that will make your images just pop a little bit. Depending on the image, I'll go all the way, but for this one, there's so much color going on that it's hard to go through and do it. Now, one thing you can do at this point, you can kick your hues. Do you want a green or green? This green here is killing me here. Change those. I don't like that. We'll just leave those where they were. Drag that down and change that to more of a blue. Now these are global changes, so you have to be careful about what it's doing to the skin tone, things like that. But on the overall, that's kind of how I do these images. Now at that point, you can always just put in a preset or something, and be like, oh look, it looks kind of cool. But I prefer not to if I can get away with it. I'd rather go in here to the split toning. I'd do something if I was gonna maybe not highlight the green. Let's do the highlights over here. A little more liveliness in the image. Now we can like that. There we go. That's pretty close to what it was. Let's fix this. That flower. That bugs me. I wish I would have never used that flower. Anyway, here we got an extremely green image now. Let's hit hue twice. Fix everything. Now we're going to just affect those flowers. I kind of like that. Kind of more of a yellowish fall color. That's good. Alright. Vibrance. Maybe bring that saturation down just a little. It's a little overpowering. Now you can also do this with clarity. I can move clarity up a little. Let's go 20. And then I don't have to change anything. I can hit effect twice and just bring down the clarity and kind of compensate for that. And that gets rid of all that overabundance. Now I'm going to zoom in on my eyes. And I'm going to pull that off, and I'm going to over clarify those eyes just a little. Because I really want them to pop in this image. Alright. So there you go. Start to finish. This is an image I'd throw up on Facebook. I'd love to get it printed on metallic just to kind of see what, see what a glossy metallic looks like on this. Histogram looks good. Nothing's blown out on either side, which is rare for me. I have a tendency to blow out the blacks a lot in my images. I don't see anything else that needs to be done. So, at this point, I would export it and probably throw it up on Facebook and see what Caitlin thinks of it. This is Mike Troutt at Trouttphoto.com, Troutt Photography. I'm here in Southern Illinois in the St. Louis area. I also am based out of Atlanta. Also run a photography workshop group called MAP, or Metro Area Photographers. It's at mapstudiogroup.com. We are located out of Atlanta and St. Louis, run workshops, group shoots, just social events. We do benefits and everything else. And if you ever have any questions about that, you can see us on Facebook at, I think, Map Group 2 or Map Studio, and our Map Studio Atlanta, Map Studio St. Louis, or STL. We also have multiple Facebook groups that you can join with tips going out every day. Over 2,200 people total between the two different groups. Anyway, trouttphoto.com, TROUTT photo.com. Thank you.